afternoon, everyone. It is Monday, July 15th, about 2:20 early this afternoon, and welcome into this afternoon's video weather discussion, where we are going to have an update on what has been a very active weather pattern that we're in. There's a big ridge of high pressure that's in place out across the Intermountain western United States, and part of that ridge has been poking out into the central United States, and that has helped what is form known as a ring of fire pattern here into the region, and that's when we get these thunderstorm clusters that generally ride the northern periphery of these ridges. So in this place, like I said, we have a ridge in place out across the Intermountain West. It extends into the Central Plains a little bit as well. So that's why we keep seeing these thunderstorm clusters develop and move across the northern plains down into the Midwest and also the Great Lakes where we live as well. We've been seeing this for the past pretty much two and a half days. We saw some of the first thunderstorm cluster was actually Saturday afternoon that affected parts of northern Illinois. A little bit of strong to severe thunderstorms with that. Then we saw more activity as we moved into Saturday night. We saw 2 rounds of severe thunderstorms with flooding across northern Illinois. We saw another round across northern and central Illinois Sunday morning. And since then, we've seen some more activity last night across northern and central Illinois that brought some severe weather and some flooding as well. And nothing's changing because we're going to see that sort of situation again today. We're going to see one of these, or maybe 2 of these thunderstorm clusters develop out across southern Wisconsin back into Iowa. And once that activity develops, it's going to race east-southeast across much of northern, even down into central Illinois as we head into tonight. So with that said here, I do have a view of the satellite imagery up here on the screen right now, and it is in motion, so you can see what's been going on the visible satellite here over the next over the past couple of hours, I should say. And there's a couple of things I wanted to point out. First of all, out here, there is a disturbance. You can see these high clouds out here. You can see that they're really booking off towards the east here. That's because we are starting to see a trough that's across the northern plains and Midwest. That trough is starting to impinge on the region now. We do have a jet streak in the upper atmosphere around 500 millibars that's moving through as well. So we do have forcing, we do have a disturbance moving in, a nice little jet streak moving in as well. So that is going to aid in the development of the severe weather activity as we move through the day. Another thing you might notice here is this arc of clouds right here. These are low-level cumulus clouds, and that arc represents kind of a loose warm frontal boundary that's in place. Now, it's hot to the south and it's hot to the north of that boundary, but that is a kind of a marker for where the highest dew points are. So along and south of this warm frontal feature, dew points are running in the mid-70s to low 80s near that warm frontal boundary, whereas up here across northern areas north of that boundary, your dew points are generally upper 60s to mid-70s or so. So there is a boundary that's in place here that's going to be of focus as we move through the day today as well. Like I said, you can kind of see it here. The clouds are kind of marking where that warm frontal feature is in place right now. Like I said, it is warm to hot north of that. It's warm to hot south of that. It is pretty much humid everywhere as well, but the moisture is pooling along this boundary, and this boundary is slowly moving off towards the north and retreating back off towards the north. So what we're expecting to have happen here is once this disturbance and this jet streak moves in here, we're expecting severe thunderstorm development to occur kind of out here across this corridor as we continue to move through the afternoon today. Now, once that activity does develop, and I'll actually show you that here on one of the weather forecast models in just a moment, but once we do see that severe thunderstorm activity develop here this afternoon, this activity is quickly going to race off in an east-southeasterly direction. Maybe eventually some of this activity may move even in a southeasterly direction. But this is the corridor that we're watching for this development to occur as we move through the next couple of hours this afternoon. We're approaching 2:30 now, so we should start to see that development, like I said, occur over the next couple of hours. And what is that going to look like? Well, let's take a look at one of the weather forecast models here. I'm going to show you the HRRR model. This is one of the high-resolution short-term models that we often show you. And as we go into the afternoon, as you can see here, we are expecting that development to occur out here across this corridor over the next couple of hours. And you'll notice once that development occurs, it is going to start to congeal into this big complex or big line, what is known as an MCS or a mesoscale convective system. It's a big fancy term for a big complex of rain and thunderstorms, sometimes severe thunderstorms. So you can see here, as we go from this afternoon into this evening, this activity that develops out across this corridor quickly moves off to the east-southeast, and eventually the southeast here. So by the time we get into this evening, this is right around 7, 8 o'clock this evening, we have severe thunderstorms here from Iowa back eastward into northwest and parts of northern Illinois here. Places like the Rockford area, you'll be getting some severe weather this evening. Out towards Dubuque, the Quad Cities area, some severe weather this evening. And then as we move into early tonight, look how quickly this activity moves from west to east across the area. So this is right around 10 p.m. early tonight. That severe weather activity from western Illinois up through the Chicago metro area. Well, like I said, this is what is known as an MCS at this point in time, a mesoscale convective system. Like I said, that's just a big fancy term for saying there's a big complex, an organized complex of rain, thunderstorms, and in this case, severe thunderstorms as well. And as we move later into tonight, you can see how this activity will eventually work down into parts of central Illinois as it also continues off into Indiana, Michigan, adjacent areas of Ohio as well. And as we work through very, very late tonight and early Tuesday morning, some of this activity may even get down towards the I-70 corridor as well. And this stuff is going to be moving off at a pretty quick clip, especially once it gets organized and starts forward propagating. It'll accelerate. That's when we'll start to see damaging wind threat increase as well. So a pretty good severe weather threat coming up here across, especially northern Illinois during the afternoon into the evening, early tonight, and maybe into central Illinois as we work more so into the overnight time period. So with that said, let's just show you the map here. So this is our updated severe weather forecast. This is for today and tonight. As you can see here, we do have this orange shaded area. This orange shaded area is a level 4 severe thunderstorm risk, and it essentially means numerous severe thunderstorms will be possible in this level 4 risk area. So once again, the orange shaded color, that's a level 4 severe thunderstorm risk. Numerous severe thunderstorms will be likely. As we head a little bit south and east, the yellow shaded color from Chicago through Kankakee, Champaign, and back up to western Illinois here. That yellow shaded color is a level 3 severe thunderstorm risk. That essentially means we'll see scattered severe thunderstorms across that area. The green shaded color from Quincy down through Springfield, Effingham, that's a level 2 severe thunderstorm risk. We'll see widely scattered severe thunderstorms across that area being possible. And then lastly, for you folks across southern Illinois, places like St. Louis, Carbondale, Marion area, you folks down there across southern Illinois, that's an isolated severe weather risk. And down there, like I said, that's for generally overnight tonight. So in terms of timing, timing is going to be later this afternoon and early this evening up across this corridor, northwestern Illinois. The rest of northern Illinois, pretty much this corridor, your time frame will be more so during the evening and into early tonight across that corridor. And then as you work down into central Illinois, that'll be mostly a nighttime and overnight affair across central Illinois. Now, one thing that we've been seeing thrown around a lot the past day or so is the word derecho. So this is one of those cases that we are going to say that is possible that we could see a derecho. So a derecho is pretty much one of those big MCSs, one of those mesoscale convective systems. It's a big thunderstorm complex, but in the case of a derecho, it produces widespread and significant damaging winds with the severe thunderstorms. So that's could be what we could see today. I'm not going to say it's 100% possible because things could still always go wrong. You know, it's the weather. We see things go wrong all the time. But it is possible this could be one of those cases where this big thunderstorm complex that's going to move through could be potentially a derecho. And like I said, what that means is it could produce widespread and potentially significant damaging winds. And not only that, some of the storms could produce some hail, and we could be looking at a tornado threat as well. These would be what would mostly be known as QLCS tornadoes. So these are the tornadoes that form embedded in the line of storms. We may have seen a couple may have occurred last night, actually. We're seeing their National Weather Service has storm crews out there surveying some of the damage from last night in the Chicago metro area to see if maybe a couple of tornadoes may have occurred. But that's what I'm talking about. These are QLCS tornadoes that will be possible as well. Those are the little spin-ups in the lines of thunderstorms that we see. So we could see that kind of situation once again as we move through the day and the night tonight as well. But like I said, expecting that development to occur off the screen here, Iowa up in the Wisconsin, northwestern Illinois, and then once it does so, it will organize into complex and push off in an east-southeast and southeasterly direction through the evening and the overnight hours across northern and central Illinois. So with that said here, let's try to get to some of your comments and questions here this afternoon. Peyton checking in, Nate checking in today, Jeff checking in. Thank you all for tuning in. How's it going, Jeff out in Palos? More action headed our way. As we continue on here, see Patricia, Deborah also checking in. Jeff wondering, will we see a tornado watch or a severe thunderstorm watch today? That's a good question because, like I said, there is going to be the threat for some of those QLCS tornadoes. The environment that's in place is actually a pretty good environment to get those QLCS tornadoes within these, within this complex of thunderstorms moving through. So the best bet is probably a severe thunderstorm watch, but I wouldn't totally rule out a tornado watch either. We'll have to see how things are going to go. Jeff checking in. Yes, as I mentioned a moment ago, the National Weather Service does have a couple of survey crews out there surveying some information across the region. I know there's someone out, I believe, in the DeKalb County, Kane County area checking some of the damage out there. There's been someone out, a couple people out in the Kane, DuPage County area this morning as well. So we'll see what actually happened with that activity that occurred Sunday night once that information is received. All right, let's continue on here. Tracy checking in regarding a concert at Wrigley Field. Yes, I know we have had several comments on our Facebook and X pages regarding there being a big concert at Wrigley Field tonight. I don't know what time that concert starts, but if you are attending that concert and if it is for any time after 7 p.m., you are probably going to have some issues, especially as we approach more towards 9 and 10 o'clock. So if you are heading out to that concert and if it does run later towards 9, 10 o'clock, especially definitely could potentially have some significant issues. Let's continue on here. Yeah, we have some cloud cover. Timothy checking in. Cloud cover moving across parts of northern Illinois right now. Some mid and high level clouds. Really not a big deal. Those are booking pretty quickly out of the region. You see how quickly. Let's actually go back to satellite to show you that. We do have some cloud cover moving through. This is some high-level clouds right now, but you see how rapidly these clouds are moving through. That's because we have this trough that's impinging on the Midwest now, and we have this jet streak that's moving through, 500 millibar jet streak, 40, 50, 60 knots that's moving through. So that's why those high clouds are, and mid-level clouds are moving in and out pretty darn quickly at this point in time. All right, let's try to get to some more comments and questions here. Yes, northwestern Illinois will be impacted as well. See Jennifer checking in from northwestern Illinois. Yes, that will be impacted as well. Carmichael checking in from the Kankakee area. Yes, you will be impacted more so late evening and more so into tonight as well around the Kankakee County area. Cassandra checking in regarding that concert. Looks like it's a Def Leppard, Journey, and Steve Miller Band concert. All right. Yeah, usually I know those concerts kick off, around usually 7 o'clock or so. So if it does happen to run towards, 9, 10 o'clock, you definitely could be dealing with some issues if you're attending that concert at Wrigley tonight. All right, here, Nicolette checking in from around the Rockford area. You will be impacted as we head, let's say, this evening and into early tonight. So I'd say anywhere between maybe as early as 4 o'clock and as late as about 10 o'clock in the Rockford area. That's kind of your time frame there for what you're expecting. Peyton checking in here, mentioning you're expecting the Storm Prediction Center to go with a moderate risk at the 3 p.m. update. We will see what they do. I believe they've been pondering the possibility of doing so, it sounds like, but so far they haven't done so yet. Deborah checking in, you're in Ohio, going to be close to the Indiana line. Yeah, you'll get some storms as you're along those travels as we head overnight tonight and even into Tuesday morning as well in your area. All right, here, let's carry on. See some folks tuning in. Elizabeth and Ariane for the Crystal Lake, Woodstock areas. That's up there, northern Illinois, McHenry area. Yes, as we head through this evening and into early tonight, you will be impacted as well. See a ton of folks checking in from the Chicago metro area. I see a Naperville call out. I see Joliet here. Schaumburg mentioned. Yes, all of you folks will be having that severe weather threat as well as we head. In the Chicago area, it'll be more so mid-evening through early tonight. And when I say mid-evening, I'm talking about potentially as early as 7 o'clock all the way through probably 11 or so o'clock in the Chicago metro area. That's probably the loose time frame right now that I'd go with, between 7 to 11 o'clock, generally speaking, in the Chicago metro area. See a couple folks tuning in from Central Illinois. See Jeremy checking in from Fulton County. See a couple of Peoria mentions as well. Yes, you could have that severe weather threat as we move from late evening and into overnight tonight across Central Illinois, such as the Peoria area. Probably not until after 7 o'clock in that area, all the way through about midnight or so. Doug checking in from out in the Quad Cities area. As you can see here, you are right in that level 4 risk as well. Your threat is going to be late afternoon through this evening out in the Quad Cities area as well. Jacob checking in here with a question. What does QLCS stand for? So that stands for Quasi-Linear Convective System. So it's another one of those big fancy terms pretty much telling you that there's going to be a line or a complex of severe thunderstorms. That's what a QLCS is. There's also, like I said, MCS, Mesoscale Convective System, also just another fancy term for saying there's going to be a cluster or a complex of rain thunderstorms and severe thunderstorms as well. All right, here, Jory checking in regarding softball game in LaGrange at 7:15. That game might be fine during that time, but after that time, definitely could run into some issues as you go deeper into time. Jason wondering if there will be a PDS severe thunderstorm watch. PDS means particularly dangerous situation. You could either get a severe thunderstorm watch or a tornado watch. That's PDS, or particularly dangerous situation. Will we see one of those today? Maybe if the Storm Prediction Center has high enough confidence that there will be a derecho, for example, you might see one. I wouldn't say it's likely, but I wouldn't rule it out either necessarily. All right, here, I see a lot of questions regarding timing. I will get to that in just one moment here. And actually, I see more and more of those right now. So let's actually get to the timing. So once again, if you're out here across northwestern Illinois, back into Iowa, southwestern Wisconsin, your timing is going to be late afternoon into this evening across that corridor. If you're more so in this weird blob shape that I'm about to draw here, your threat in this corridor is going to be more so from early to mid-evening all the way through early tonight across that corridor. And that includes places like the Chicago metro area, down into the Bloomington corridor, out towards the Kelb, Rockford, also in the Kankakee area, for example. And then if you're far enough south, down here, across central Illinois, this is going to be overnight tonight down across central Illinois. Places like Quincy, Springfield, Champaign, Effingham, St. Louis. That corridor, central Illinois, that is going to be overnight tonight. Jamie wondering if this has been downgraded from earlier forecasts. No, we have upgraded our forecast from a level 3 to level 4 risk out there across northern Illinois. Birdie wondering if this is going to be a tornado outbreak. No, not expecting a tornado outbreak today, but there definitely is going to be the chance for some of those, like I said, what is known as QLCS tornadoes as this complex of severe thunderstorms gets going and then pushes east and southeast across northern and central Illinois as well. All right, here, Allison with a question. Do QLCS tornadoes have different tendencies than other types of tornadoes? Generally, yes. Most, not all, but most QLCS tornadoes are fairly short-lived. Now, in general, tornadoes are generally short-lived, but QLCS tornadoes are especially so, usually fairly short-lived. Most of them are very quick spin-ups, so by the time, they show up on radar, a lot of them are gone. Now, are there exceptions to that? Yes. Sometimes QLCS tornadoes do last longer. Sometimes they're stronger as well, but on average, usually they're quick spin-ups and usually they're on the weaker side. Now, in terms of an exception, if you remember back to, I believe it was Father's Day 2021, we had that EF3 tornado in the Woodridge, Naperville, Darien area of the Chicago metro area. That was a QLCS tornado. It was very fast moving, but it lasted, quite a distance. It was on the ground for a while, and it was fairly strong. It was an EF3. So that's one of those exceptions to the fact that sometimes, QLCS tornado could be a little bit more significant. But most of the time, they're very quick spin-ups, they're very short-lived, and they're generally most of the time on the weaker side on average. But, like I said, sometimes there are exceptions to that as well. All right, got more information on that concert. It looks like the concert at Wrigley Field starts at 5:30. So if you're going to that concert early on, if it does indeed start at 5:30, it should be fine. But as you move later into the evening, more towards 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, if that concert goes on that long at Wrigley Field, definitely could be dealing with issues, like I said, especially from 7 o'clock onward for that concert at Wrigley Field area. All right, and I have a lot of questions here regarding specific backyard situations. I'm not going to get to all those questions because, trust me, they're coming in hot and heavy right now. Everybody wants to know. I know it. You all want to know what's going to happen for your particular backyard and your particular community. There are just so many of those questions that I will not get to those. So if you want to know what to expect for your particular backyard, I always refer you to our forecast map. It'll tell you what you need to know. It'll tell you what risk level you're in. And then if you go over to our text information here on the graphic, it'll tell you also what kind of or what type of severe weather we'll be dealing with. It'll tell you a general time frame as well. So a lot of information that you may need is on the graphic. Like I said, I know all of you want to know what to expect for your particular backyard and exactly at what specific time, but we just cannot get to all of those very site-specific questions. So for the most part, I'm going to stick to more of the general questions here overall. Once again, dealing with severe weather potential, likelihood across northern and central Illinois as we move from this afternoon through this evening and into overnight tonight as well. These storms will be capable of producing damaging winds, maybe some hail as well, and then we're also going to be looking at a tornado threat potentially as well, some of those QLCS tornadoes being possible as well. Now, we're going to be looking for this activity to really start developing here over the next couple of hours, and this is going to first start out over the Iowa, southwestern Wisconsin, and northwestern Illinois area. That is where we're going to be dealing with the first development of those severe thunderstorms over the next couple of hours. Once those severe thunderstorms develop in that Iowa, southwest Wisconsin, northwestern Illinois corridor. They will congeal into sort of a complex or maybe two complexes of rain, thunderstorms, and severe weather, and then they will rapidly move off towards the east, east-southeast, and southeast across much of northern and central Illinois. Like I said, as we continue to move through the later afternoon, the evening hours, and into the overnight hours tonight as well. So with that said, let's try to get to a couple more comments and questions once again here. See a couple more questions regarding the potential for a derecho. So a derecho is pretty much a big complex of severe thunderstorms. It could come in different shapes, different sizes, and it produces widespread and significant damaging winds and hail. Damaging winds, significant damaging winds, and widespread damaging winds, sometimes QLCS tornadoes as well. So that is what a derecho is. So could we see one of those today? Yes, it is possible. Now, I'm not going to say it's likely, because you never want to say that. It'll jinx it. It probably won't happen, so maybe I should say that. But yes, a derecho is pretty much a complex of rain, thunderstorms, and severe thunderstorms. Sometimes it comes in the shape of a bow echo, which is one of those bowing segments that rapidly race across the area and produce damaging winds and hail. Sometimes some tornadoes as well. So, could we see a derecho? Yes. Will it 100% occur with 100% certainty? No, you can't say that, because there's a lot of technicalities that come along with determining whether or not a complex of thunderstorms is a derecho. Like I said, it has to produce widespread damaging winds across the path that it traverses. It also has to produce some significant damaging winds, several instances of significant damaging winds as well. And what I mean by significant damaging winds is it has to produce wind gusts, measured wind gusts, or even estimated, of 75 miles per hour or greater. So not only widespread wind damage, it has to produce significant wind gusts as well. So that's two factors in determining if a thunderstorm complex is a derecho or not. The third thing is distance. It has to travel a certain distance as well. So in order for this complex to potentially, that we're expecting, become a derecho, we need all of those factors to kind of come together and those thresholds to be met. So is it something that you could say in advance, hey, we're going to see a derecho today when nothing has even developed yet? You can't say it with 100% certainty, but it is something that could be possible with this severe weather threat as we move through the day today. Another thing I want to touch on is flooding, because I do see a couple comments and questions regarding that. We've obviously seen a lot of rainfall, especially across northern Illinois the past couple of days. We've seen some significant flooding in some areas as well. You folks in the Rockford area know exactly what I'm talking about. You've had a couple of instances of some significant flooding over the past couple of days in the Rockford area. So we've seen a lot of rainfall across parts of northern Illinois, with more on the way as we head through tonight. Definitely could see a flooding threat, especially across parts of northern Illinois where you've already dealt with some heavy rainfall and some flooding over the past couple of days as well. See a couple folks wondering what these risk levels mean. So these thunderstorm risk levels, the 4, the 3, the 2, the 1, they are not severity. They are actually based on coverage of severe weather. So down across southern Illinois, where you see that level 1 severe thunderstorm risk, that's going to be the potential for the lowest coverage. So level 1 risk is generally maybe the chance of an isolated severe thunderstorm. Now, as you go up in threat level, the potential coverage of severe thunderstorms increase. So level 2 risk, the green color, is widely scattered severe thunderstorms. The level 3 risk, slightly higher coverage, more of a scattered severe thunderstorm threat. And then you work up to the level 4 risk, and that's numerous severe thunderstorms possible. And if we had a level 5 risk, that would be widespread. Everybody's seeing severe thunderstorms. So that's kind of what that means. Those risk levels, the severe thunderstorm risk level, is based on coverage, not severity. Now, if you want to talk in terms of severity, that's when you look down at the bottom of the map here and you see this area, this bottom part of the legend here that says significant. Anytime you see those little dotted lines, that's called hatching. That's where you could see significant severe weather, whether it be sometimes it's tornadoes, sometimes it's significant damaging winds, sometimes it's huge, large hail. In this case today and into tonight, you could see this hatched area. You could see this hatched area right here across pretty much the northern half of the state. So these little dotted lines represent hatching, or where we could see significant severe weather. So across that area, if you go down here to the bottom of the graphic here, this text portion of the graphic, it says for the areas that'll see the significant severe weather, that could be occurrences of 75 mile per hour or greater winds and corridors of widespread or significant wind damage. So in the case of today's severe weather event and into tonight, that hatching for significant severe weather says, hey, we could be dealing with a pretty big damaging wind threat across that corridor. So once again, the threat levels are coverage. The hatching represents significance. And we do not do anything differently than the Storm Prediction Center. Their severe weather forecasts are the same thing. Marginal, slight, enhanced, moderate, and high risks, those are based on coverage. Then if you look at some of the other maps, they have that hatched area as well. That is for significance. So our forecast and the Storm Prediction Center's forecast use the same base model. Risk level by coverage, significance delineated by the hatched areas. That just gives you a little insight on how these severe weather forecasts work, not only here at ISC, but the Storm Prediction Center forecasts as well. All right, here, let's continue on here. I'm falling a little bit behind on some of these comments now. All right, here, see a couple mentions of the text service that we provide. Yes, Adam actually posted, I believe, a couple of hours ago on our Facebook page that if you are interested in receiving text-based significant weather alerts, so severe thunderstorm watches, warnings, tornado watches, warnings, I believe flash flood warnings are included as well, some of the winter warnings as well. If you're interested in that weather text alert service, definitely sign up for that. Like I said, Adam made a post about it on our Facebook page a couple of hours ago, so definitely check that out if you're interested in getting those text weather alerts directly to your phone. All right, here, let's try to get to a couple comments and questions, and I see those dashed lines. A lot of folks were wondering about that, so hopefully I was able to answer that question for you a moment ago. All right, here. Oh, and another thing, I saw someone just mention that. On top of all this, we had an earthquake this morning. It was centered around the Shabana area. That's right there, DeKalb County, I believe, is Shabana. So on top of the severe weather threat, we're dealing with heat and humidity across the state. We had an earthquake this morning in northern Illinois as well. So we've had a lot that we've been dealing with here across the state over the past couple of days. That is for sure. Another thing that I want to point out that some of you may not know is these live video forecasts and updates that we do. Anytime you see us on a video, It is broadcast both on Facebook and on YouTube. So if you prefer Facebook, you could still watch us on Facebook. We're not going anywhere. If you prefer to watch us on YouTube instead, these live video forecast and update discussions can also be found on YouTube as well. Just head over there and look us up. Actually, it's at the bottom of the screen here. This is our handle for YouTube down here. Look us up on YouTube, give us a follow, subscribe, and you can watch these videos on YouTube as well. So in summary here, to wrap this up, let's go over everything once more for those of you who are just tuning in. Once again, we are dealing with the likelihood for severe thunderstorms to develop this afternoon out across southwestern Wisconsin, back into Iowa, northwestern Illinois. We're expecting this development to occur over the next couple of hours. Now, once this activity develops later this afternoon and evening, and as I go forward into time here, you can see development occurs out here, so this activity will quickly move to the east, east-southeast, and southeast direction here, out of Iowa and Wisconsin and across parts of northern Illinois here. As you can see, this is right around 8 o'clock this evening here. 8 o'clock this evening, coming through the Milwaukee, Rockford areas, back down through the Quad Cities area. As we head, this is, 9 o'clock, coming through the Chicago metro area here, back through the Quad Cities area. That's right around 9 o'clock in this particular model. This is 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. This is midnight here, coming down into parts of central Illinois now. This is 1 o'clock in the morning, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. So even as we get into early Tuesday morning, this activity may even make it down into the I-70 corridor down there across southern Illinois as we progress through time here. So in the end, as you can say here, we are going to be dealing with severe weather across a large chunk of the state today and into tonight, ranging anywhere from a level 1, which is an isolated severe thunderstorm threat across southern Illinois, all the way up to a level 4, which is the threat for numerous severe thunderstorms up across parts of northern Illinois. Once again, these risk levels are based on coverage. Then when you deal with this hatched area, these little dotted lines all up here, that's hatching. Look at the bottom of the screen. That tells you there could be significant severe weather there. And what type of significant severe weather? Damaging winds, potentially widespread and significant, especially across that corridor. Now, in general, damaging winds will without a doubt be the highest threat with the severe weather activity today and tonight. Could be dealing with some hail as well, and we could be dealing with some QLCS-type tornadoes as well. So it's expected to be a very busy and active late afternoon, evening, and overnight hours. Now, there is also a chance for severe weather across central and southern Illinois Tuesday into Tuesday night as well. We're not going to really touch on that right now, just due to the fact that the threat level for today is quite significant. The severe weather threat central and southern Illinois for Tuesday into Tuesday night, that's going to be an isolated risk. So as of right now, this is going to be generally staying our main focus at this point in time. Once again, see some comments here regarding the text weather alert service. Once again, if you're looking to get those weather alerts directly to your phone very, very quickly, we provide a weather text alert service. As soon as a severe thunderstorm warning, tornado warning, whatever it is, a watch, as soon as it's issued, it goes directly to your phone in the form of a text message. You'll get it, and you'll be one of the first people to know that a warning or watch is issued before most other people will. So if you want to sign up for those text weather alerts, definitely check out our Facebook page. Adam made a post about that service a couple of hours ago, and the sign-up link is posted as well. All right, here. But in summary here, I should say, severe weather expected northern and central Illinois this afternoon into overnight tonight. Going to be dealing with quite a severe weather threat during that time. Going to be dealing with quite a bit of severe weather during that time, like I said, this afternoon and into tonight as well. Damaging winds will definitely be a big threat with this activity. Some hail. Also could be dealing with a tornado threat as well. And I just put in the comments, so if you want to sign up for that weather text alert service, I just put the link in the comments on both YouTube and Facebook. It's weathertextalert.com. So if you want to sign up for those weather text alerts, whether it's, for now or later in the future, it's very, very cheap. We'll just put it that way. It's only about, I think it's 88 cents a month or something like that it comes out to. So it's cheap, it's not expensive, and it's a good way to get these warnings and watches directly to your phone via text message. So with that said, we will go ahead and wrap up this discussion for this afternoon. We will be monitoring the situation through today and through tonight. We will be posting updates through the afternoon, through the evening, through overnight tonight. We'll be posting updates on all of our social media pages, Facebook, on X, and on Instagram. We will be posting on our website as well, and on our ISC app. If you don't have our app, or you don't know we have an app, we do have an app. Look up Illinois Storm Chasers in the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. Download our app. You could get some updates on there as well. So we'll be posting updates as needed, monitoring the situation. We will also try to be back live as needed. I'm not going to guarantee we'll be live, but we will try to be live with these video updates as needed. But definitely stay tuned for postings on Facebook, X, Instagram, and whatnot for updates as well. So with that said, everyone across northern and central Illinois, monitor the severe weather situation through the day today and into tonight as well. And stay tuned for further updates on our website, our app, location, and on our social media pages as needed through the day today and into tonight.